Good. Okay, Pat, let's get this going.
That's probably from the prior meeting, so.
Yeah, that's what that is.
I want those earrings. I have a necklace that'll go with those.
Anytime you want to borrow them, let me know.
This for me? Hey, sir. One of these must be yours.
Oh, okay, cool.
We seem to have participation for the first group.
I was impressed. They had some good folks show up. Good questions asked. Hey, good evening.
How are you?
I'm just right. Just right. All right.
Okay.
We're live on channel 13. This one. Oops, 2. What's that? Yeah, I've vandalized mine up properly. Good evening. Your better half just arrived and I got to straighten up.
Yes.
You gotta love the rodeo. You gotta love the rodeo.
Okay for you.
Mike brings, he's the goodies guy. I don't know. He's high energy. I'll tell you what.
those, did you?
Mike can reach into the next county and still be sitting here. So. That's why he's such a good ball player. All right, thank you. Yeah, hopefully she'll show me.
No, the meeting before.
Yeah, the meeting before us was on the bond.
They were talking about, if that committee be made up to go ahead and give us an answer.
Yeah. She doesn't show up,
But we should not. It's all of her hard work.
Yeah, she's burnt some time on there. Oh, head attack. Those guys have opened so many houses and they always do it on the go when they got some other obligation going. I'd like to go over and check out some of their work. Oh yeah, go take care of that. Dava hasn't arrived yet, so.
Yeah. Hi there, how are you?
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Have you been to Kennywood lately? When was the last time you were there?
Last summer.
Were you really?
We, our two of our granddaughters,
Oh, is it?
flew out. We did a road trip
No, that
home and did some fun things
How's the
along the
yuppie
way.
in?
Oh, down to Hacienda.
Yeah.
And my daughter and
They'd like you to RSVP by Friday.
grandkids.
You have a lot of grandkids.
Let me give you my address. What is it?
I've got
Next
seven.
Thursday. But it's for, it's good, it's pretty big.
It'd be great.
Besides Parkside.
Our last horse went to horse heaven last
Hi, Mayor. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. I wanted to ask this young fella a question whenever he gets available.
before that. No, she was 28. The year before that, we had supposed to be the eldest one down. She was 29.
I had a quick
No, you
question
don't have
for
to
you.
leave.
Do you live over at Parkside or you just have a property there?
Well, we just bought a property that we're either going to move into or let my daughter and son-in-law move into.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I have a home there. I have a couple other properties. I have
Okay.
a big ranch off of Perkinsville, way out to the
Out in the Tulies, all right. Yeah, one of the guys from the bond committee had asked. He said, "I don't think that guy lives at Parkside." And I said, "I don't know."
No, we just bought and we'll probably move. It closes tomorrow. We're probably moving in. Well, it'll be either us or my daughter. And my son.
I live there, the finance director lives in Parkside, there's a bunch of us.
Anyway, young fella straight back from you, got his glasses pulled down on his nose. He was the one that was asking about it. So if you would fill him in. Hate to inquiring minds. You hate to leave them dangling. So.
I'm all for that.
All right.
Same day, we got almost the same time.
As, like I said, you usually have a couple
Okay,
of prior
let's
obligations.
press on.
This one's after Prescott Resort, so we want to go. Thursday's due, this is from 4 to 5:30. And that one, that's from 5 to 7.
We could go to both. Which one's that? That course? I've never done one. Does anybody go to that?
I'd have fun with a
It's
couple of
time,
Yeah, it sure is.
past time. Is,
It's not in your box?
Oh, just an agenda. Another one, same day. No, no, no.
Yeah, we're still missing Dava.
Where is David?
Probably stuck in traffic. The traffic coming in is terrible.
Oh, is that right?
We got the agenda.
What didn't we get?
It came with that referendum or the,
No, because I didn't learn online.
Oh.
There's something special.
You're talking about the one for tonight.
Yeah, what's that tree thing?
This was an addendum that was given to us Tuesday night, and I didn't have
didn't
time
get
to read it.
I didn't get that.
I don't know who distributed them, so.
Yeah, I don't remember either. It's doesn't seem substantially different from the
But they were all
general
together with
plan
this.
itself, but yeah.
when we got this for the election,
So
Oh,
this you should have had it, we voted on it.
that, yeah.
But they were all
I
put
probably
together.
have it, took it out, because I took everything out from last.
They were all put together.
I probably took it out, thinking it was part of the last one. Try to get your act together and get here. Where's Don? Is he coming?
I did not hear that,
No one said he wasn't.
There's David.
Don, I bet you didn't realize it.
There's Dava.
She's probably
Dava,
Oh, yeah,
Dava, Dava,
Dava, Dava, Dava, Dava, Dava, Dava, Dava, Dava.
Thank you.
That worked. That's pretty subtle, huh? Yeah, like a cannonball.
he was over there talking to Tiffany.
I'm glad she appreciates our sense of
Crack
humor.
a time.
Are you gonna go ahead and call him?
I am. Probably.
Where's Lon? Is Lon not coming?
He didn't tell me that he was not coming. Usually he lets me know.
Thursday, we're doing strategic planning, huh?
I believe so, yep. Get to go over all of this, huh?
Yippee-ki-yay.
He gave us some really good numbers. While we're waiting to get sparked up, I'll run them by you here. This was Mark Reeder. He said it'll be they're estimating a roughly $13.5 million bond. It's going to be $900,000 a year to pay back the bond, which comes out to roughly $1.35 per hundred of assessed value. So those are some good
But the
numbers.
payback
to have.
decreases as we go through the years, so
Anyway, that's what he
it's
gave
good. It's a good presentation.
Really good. Well, we have a quorum. Hang on for just a second, see if we're gonna get Mr. Wojcik here. Oh, okay. We have a quorum, so we can go ahead and get started, and if he shows up, we're good. Okay. Ready? Go ahead and call this meeting to order. We're live on Channel 13. May we have the roll call, please?
Good evening. Councilmember McKee. Here. Councilmember Hatch. Here. Councilmember Best.
Here.
Vice Mayor Croft.
Here.
And Mayor Marley.
Here.
Thank you.
Our first order of business is a presentation, update, and discussion of the General Plan 2013-2014 Review Draft with Dava Hoffman. Ms. Hoffman?
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. I thought that because you have such a full plate these days, I should put a little presentation together as a refresher about the general plan, and then we can go from there however you want to discuss it. Okay. Okay, so this is a refresher about what the general plan is. And maybe, do we want to close the lights so you can read these screens a little bit better? one of the things I want to do is thank the members of the General Plan Committee and the Planning Commission that are here tonight. And as you know, the General Plan Committee met for a long time, and they put in a lot of hard work, and this is a product of all that work. So the General Plan is an expression of the community's intent to improve its conditions for the future, as well as protecting the attributes that are here today. And it's a basis for decision-making for long-term growth and protection of community character. It's also a very broad and flexible guideline that can be amended as needed. I want to make sure everybody understands that the general plan is not a code. It is not any kind of a regulation. It doesn't require any changes to existing land uses or to the zoning district that somebody has on their property. It's simply a guide for decision-making for new development. And the general plan is always a living document, and it can be amended when the community feels it's appropriate. The process for the general plan took quite a while. It started in February of 2012 with the public participation plan that was adopted by council through a resolution, and then the appointment of the general plan committee. And as you recall, each council member appointed 2 members to the general plan committee. The committee met from February, March of 2012 through mid-December of 2013 in the production of the general plan. And they met at least monthly, sometimes twice a month, also at workshops and joint briefings with commission and council. So they probably met at least 30 times over that period of time. Then in mid-December, the general plan review draft was put together, and it was made available on the town website. It was sent out to the commission, council, and all staff members via email. And then on January 6th, the official distribution to state agencies and local and regional agencies occurred. There's a 60-day review period required by statute. So that went from January 6th to March 6th. Then the Planning Commission held their public hearing on April 1st, and they reviewed the comments received from the 60-day review period. And tonight we're having the work session with the council, and then there's a required public hearing by council. Now, the contents of the general plan is, it starts out with an introductory chapter explaining what a general plan is, the kind of terms used, the process, the public participation, and how to amend it. It then has a chapter talking about what the community is like. It's an overview. It describes the place, the characteristics of population and lifestyle, and demographics. And then there are 6 general plan elements that are chapters of the general plan, from land use, circulation, open space, water resources and environment, cost of development, and economic development. The plan starts out with a community-inspired vision, and this vision reads, Chino Valley is a community looking to the future that envisions diverse business and employment expansion, varieties in housing, and options in transportation, all while maintaining its valued farming heritage, recreation and environmental assets, and its small-town image. The land use element discusses a broad range of types of uses, residential, industrial, agricultural, everything you can think of. And it also identifies growth areas that may be suitable for future transportation and infrastructure expansions. The circulation transportation element discusses all kinds of streets and highways, bicycle paths, pedestrian ways, and transit. And all of these methods are correlated with land uses. The open space recreation element first inventories the parks and recreation within the town and considers policies for regional coordination, primarily of open space and trails. Then the water resources and environment element considers all types of water, whether it's rivers or groundwater like wells or treated effluent supplies, and future needs. It also addresses qualities concerning air quality and water quality for future development. The cost of development element is one that is required to address policies to make sure that new development pays its fair share for any additional public services that are needed for the development. And then the economic development element, which is not a requirement of state law, but is one that the community requested. It focuses on employment and different types of employment bases and places that might be suitable for specialized economic development. Each element discusses the past trends, what's happening currently, and looks to the future with goals, strategies, and steps. Because the general plan is related, all of the elements are related to the vision, we used this graphic format to introduce each chapter, showing the vision in the center, and then the little satellites circling it are the elements with each element's goal. And then lastly, each element has a goal statement with a series of strategies and then a series of steps, which are the actions to achieve the strategies and the goal. And the steps, this is put into a chart form. It talks about the timing of the action. Should it be near term or longer? And then what areas are going to be affected? Will it be changes to the UDO or infrastructure expansion, budgeting for capital improvement program, or is it a regional effort and needs more planning and promotion? And then who would be the likely responsible agencies? Is it going to be council with commission and staff, Chamber of Commerce or other economic groups, or volunteers? Now, I just selected these three goals from the three chapters on land use, circulation, and economic development because they are so closely related. And the idea in this general plan that is rather unique to Chino Valley is that we look at creating community cores that will give an option for a different style of living in Chino that doesn't exist today. So the land use goal is to focus on development of community cores and lifestyle choices in land uses. The circulation goal is to encourage circulation improvements with alternative transportation offered for lifestyle choices. And the economic development goal is to expand and enhance local business and create a sustainable economy. So what is a community core? It's an area that has a combination of uses, and it's in more concentrated format than in other areas of the town. Every core would contain a residential element and other types of uses, and the cores may center on different types of uses. One might be around an entertainment complex, another might be around an educational or healthcare complex. They all can be quite different, but they all contain residential and pedestrian-oriented appeal. The idea is to offer a place that has both living, working, and playing attributes close together. And the core concepts, though it's a neighborhood-centered idea, the shops and retail that might be in a core not only encourages neighborhood shopping, but also community-wide and in the region. And that would help provide a sustainable economy throughout the town. The committee identified these first three core potentials. The first one is at Road 2 North and State Route 89. We called it the Major Community Downtown Core because it contains existing major retail and highway frontage. It even has a traffic signal, and it has water and sewer access. It has a lot of large adjacent lands that can contribute to infill to create that core. And the area could expand to the west, to the schools, a little bit to the north to take in the library town hall complex. Memory Park and the Senior Center, and maybe all the way to Reed Road with the eventual development of that chunk of state land. The next one was what we called a hospitality entertainment core at Road 1 South, mainly because it has an existing national chain motel. It has water and sewer access, again has a lot of vacant adjacent properties. And then the Recreation Employment Gateway Core, which is at Perkinsville Road and State Route 89 and all the way to Road 1 East. It has an existing major community center park, aquatic center, ball fields, all types of recreational uses, and it's near an elementary school. It has town water access, and it is the entrance to a potential industrial park and recreational use expansion at Old Home Manor. And again, there's existing adjacent vacant lands. Back to the process and the hearings. During the 60-day review period, we did receive comments from the Arizona State Land Department, Department of Water Resources, and a couple of citizens. The Planning Commission, at their April 1st public hearing, considered the comments and then recommended approval of the general plan to the council with the revisions noted. At that same meeting, the public hearing extended to what is known as the postscript, considerations for creating a sense of place in Chino Valley. This was based on many, many discussions at general plan committee meetings about the need for creating a town identity and a real sense of place. What is this essence that would attract people to Chino Valley? How do we offer social interaction, enjoyable living, and aesthetic focal points? So that is the postscript that you have a copy of in your packet, and that also was recommended by the Planning Commission to the council. And these are the remaining steps. Tonight is the council study session on the general plan. I understand the public hearing has been noted for May 13th. And upon adoption by the council of the general plan and a call for election, the general plan will go to the voters on November 4th of this year. And that concludes my presentation to council. If you want to discuss this or discuss the postscript next, we can do that, however you want to do it.
Okay. Do you have slides for the postscript also?
I just have the whole thing. It's like 4 pages, so I have it. We can show it for the public if you want.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to have you have them turn the lights up to where we could do the questions right now. All right, from our council on this side, do you have any questions on the presentation so far? None? Any questions so far?
No.
I only have about 32 questions, Deva. In your map, your land use map, which is in the addendum, and then it's also in the
I can get it up on the...
yeah, if you can get it up on the board so I can indicate it to folks. It's it's page 19 in our booklets. Yeah, potential land use. Okay. If you could scroll down a little bit there, that'd be fine right there. Where you see Perkinsville Road roll out across towards that Chino Valley extension line at the far end of Old Home Manor. That's where our Police Force 360 range is, and where the Prescott Sportsman's Club presently has a lease with the rifle range there. I've already heard from residents over in the Bright Star development that, and that's against the prevailing wind. I've already heard from them insofar as the use of the range. So far, we haven't had anybody. Just immediately to the north of the rifle and pistol ranges are the Chino Aviators, and the sound of those airplanes carries quite a bit too. When you look just south of Perkinsville Road there on the south of Old Home Manor, you see that long red bar. It says that it's commercial and multifamily residential, and I realize commercial property, you can put multifamily residential in, but it would be a good thing if we could encourage that to be just a commercial buffer zone so that folks don't move in there and realize, hey, we've got the police tactical range going, we've got model airplanes flying, those kind of things. And then another thought that I had where you see the Peavine Trail traveling up, you'll see a large red square on the right, and then sort of an elongated segment up there. That's the Gavin Court industrial area, and they have anodizing plant out there. The anodizing plant has several buildings, and there's an electrical outfit and a RV repair place, and they run fans and equipment pretty much all night. And so, like I said, I understand the way zoning is, commercial zoning is. You could put multifamily, but you're going to end up with folks that are upset about the noise, upset about the dust, upset about all those things. And so, anyway, I thought I would feed that back to you. And then also, continuing onwards, there's a question that I had regarding your circulation and transportation element. And I won't go over all the questions tonight, but I was troubled when you get into the circulation and transportation part. It speaks about the Peavine Trail. Part of that Peavine Trail, and I realize that it doesn't run straight through from Prescott because part of the land is privately owned. But part of that Peavine Trail is slated to become a loop. You can see this in your land use drawing there, the dotted line. Part of that's slated to become a roadway.
Yeah.
There's still plenty of right-of-way for
That is
bicycles.
discussed in that section.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that wasn't going to cause a lot of heartburn also.
No,
Okay.
would you like me to tell you what page that's on, where we talk about future roads that are planned to happen, and that's one of them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, if I could just add to your comment about loud fans, there are several agricultural areas where they also run loud fans late at night, and that does become a problem. But they were already zoned that way, and we can't
Right.
disrupt the zoning. But and that was agricultural residential, and they run those fans all night, and they're loud. They don't
bet.
choose necessarily, so it's not only in industrial areas where you have that problem.
Okay. Yeah, I just thought we could avoid some potential heartache if we could.
And they're probably,
Okay.
that's your area,
Yeah.
so you would know.
Yeah, they do. They run those fans all night, and then and I know there's and the 1,000-foot odor overlay from the sewer pond, but or from the waste treatment plant. Yeah. So, anyway, returning just briefly to page 14
Of which chapter?
in land use element.
Okay. And I don't want to lose where
Oh, no.
you were before. Are you satisfied that we did address that road
Okay,
in
okay.
the circulation
You
element?
bet. Okay. I just, like I said, I don't want to see any heartache over that. On page 14 in the land use element, you'll notice on the, whenever you get that rolled up.
There's conflict with your plans right now.
To get the whole general plan on the board, we have to go into the town website.
It's not the end of the
Okay.
world. I was just wanting to mention on the Old Home Manor land use concept.
Yeah,
You'll notice in that upper right-hand corner where Yavapai College is now, we as a council are trying to encourage Yavapai College to keep that area and try and keep using that. And we're hoping to, as we get more land use out there in that Old Home Manor area, hopefully step up the usage of that college area. There's on the about the middle of the bottom square of that Old Home Manor, right next to the aviators and the shooting range. Right now, it's listed as perk ponds and expansion. We're hopefully going to be looking at some RV parking over there, and
There is, well, okay, the map.
Yeah, I know on the
So
map
you're-
you had mentioned.
Yeah, this is how the committee thought this land should be used. And
All right,
so they have potential RV and rental
you bet.
west of the park, but you're saying east of the park? You're talking about doing it?
It'll be to the east of it.
Okay.
I just, like you had said, this is a concept. It's not
Yeah.
a code, but I just thought I would mention that over to the east side of the park. Hopefully we'll be expanding the shooting sports to have shotgun sports over there also. So
Okay, so are you requesting a change to this map?
I'm if it doesn't draw the world to the end, if the map is a concept alone,
That's all it
then
is,
great.
yeah.
But if it's going to come back and say, we can't have
Oh.
these things here,
Okay.
I'd rather avoid
I
that.
was under the impression that there is a committee working on Old Home Manor now, and
Yes, ma'am.
so they would be refining it from this. This was strictly a concept.
Okay, long as it's a concept, life is good. Thank you. Were there any other questions from the council?
No.
Do we have any questions from our audience? No. All right. Thank you, David. Did you want to go over the update on it then, or are you good?
Yes, I can do that.
So the next time we meet with this, we'll have a hearing. Then
We'll have public hearings.
so we can get all the.
Okay, well, while they're working on pulling up the general plan, we did have, most of our comments that we had received were from the Arizona State Land Department. They mostly wanted to make sure we protected their rights if we showed any maps or wrote anything that might go through their properties. And so there were several pages where we just added a phrase or a sentence to acknowledge that. Oh, okay, so now, can you close that and go to the pages? I'm just going to go through the changes that show up. We had a misspelling in one place on Robert McCauley's name, so that was a correction on the acknowledgements page. And let's see, yeah. And also there's a request that we had left out the name of David Nicolella, who was the former planner when we started this. So that was one change. Okay, so this is page 5 of the circulation element. And this change that's underlined where we've added that the Road 1 East extension, by the way, the first bullet is what you were talking about, Mayor, the Peavine Trail easement around between Road 4 South and Center Street, so we talk about it there. And then this one, we had originally said that the Road 1 East extension would go to approximately Road 4.5 South. That's what's in the original draft. And when we received a call from a citizen about this, and then I talked to Public Works Department, we got the real correction there that it is going to go to Kalanich Avenue, which is approximately 1,000 feet north of Road 5 South. So those couple of lines were put in, and then also information that ADOT was planning a roundabout at that intersection with the widening of the road.
Yes, ma'am.
I have to wait for him to recognize me. Isn't there also going to be a signal at 1 North now? Didn't we get notice of a signal at 1 North that should probably be in there?
It's,
Well, I haven't gotten that information.
Yeah, they
so-
announced it last,
Yeah,
was read to
yeah.
us last
At-
week that
at
there's going
1
to be a
North?
signal at 1 North.
ADOT has approved
it,
signal when
things changed even as this was going to print, I'm sure, Dava. But yeah, we just got notified from ADOT that they're
Okay.
planning on putting in the signal there.
switched to in FY16.
FY16 falls within this plan, so.
Okay, so that's going in with this
FY16.
FY16. Okay, so, all right.
Anyway, we probably won't catch everything, but
Yeah.
it'd be nice to
Right.
have it as
Well,
up to
of
date
course
as
we
you
will.
can.
Okay, we can add that. All right, then just going through. Okay, then page 9 of the circulation element. let's- Just added this sentence to the second to the last paragraph that says portions of all future roads may be subject to approval or acquisition from Arizona State Lands Department at their request. And this was in, again, the circulation section at the request of State Lands Department. Let's see. There it is. Where we talk about regional cooperation for the first step under that strategy. We've added coordinate with Arizona State Land Department for right-of-way acquisition. Okay. Okay, and then we've already, the land use map that we just looked at, we just added a footnote to that, again, to satisfy the State Lands Department. As soon as I find it here. Okay, the footnote just says portions may be subject to approval or acquisition from Arizona State Land Department. We have an asterisk for Peavine Trail and the future connector roads. Okay, so those were all of the changes that came out during the 60-day review period.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Would you like me to talk about the postscript now?
If you would, thank you.
All right. Okay. This came about, as I was saying, from many, many discussions of the General Plan Committee members about how to create a real sense of place. So Chino Valley isn't just another wide spot in the road. And so after a couple of joint meetings, the general plan was already out on the street, but in January, we had some meetings with the Planning Commission to discuss this item. And what came out of it was that the committee wanted to create something that visually says this is Chino Valley. And just, at the same time, you had installed a beautiful entry sign and sculpture And that starts this identity of the community. And so this is talking about the types of things. This was an important thing that the committee was saying, is that the solution entails creating consistency and continuity without creating rigid regulations that result in cookie-cutter development. So they came up with parts of how to do this. And they talked about an architectural style, which would be Western style, but has enough flexibility that it's both contemporary as well as traditional. And we tried to take pictures of existing buildings in town that represent that. And these also would have a wide-ranging palette of building colors, but they would have low reflectivity. And so these are the buildings. And then landscaping will enhance the building as well as pedestrian areas. And the orientation of the buildings with flexible setbacks, so that if it's, say, a retail area, you'd want to have display windows near where pedestrians walk by, so that it's something interesting to look at and helps the store sell their products. So flexibility and setbacks becomes really important, because I think right now there's some pretty rigid setbacks. And then a big thing that came out was that the development design standards should be consistent and clear and flexible, so that everybody knows what the town expects, but that the staff has the flexibility to work with the developers on achieving that. And so this is really a postscript to the general plan to talk about the need for creating the sense of place, rather than it being just left out. It was talked about so much by the general plan committee, but it didn't quite fit any of the elements, so it was decided that it would be in addition to the general plan. And so it talks about that architectural style enhanced by landscaping and other amenities are important to the town's appearance and the local economy. That pedestrian travel, access, and people gathering spaces encourages the interaction of community members and offers opportunity for the environment to be felt with all of the senses. Flexibility offers the potential for lifestyle choices that are not available today. Lifestyles and the local economy are enhanced by pedestrian connections and other alternative types of transportation. And it just goes on to say that the general plan offers a way to achieve those things through its goals and strategies and steps.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on this side? Any questions on this side? Yes, ma'am.
One of the things that the state is really pushing for business and industry is more availability of broadband. And to what extent that wasn't considered at all in the plan, or it's not required. General availability for smaller, they're opening the channels up along the highways for broadband to be dropped in for the fiber and stuff. And it seems that a lot of small businesses that they encourage, especially independent entrepreneurs, need to have access to it. And they're encouraging as much as they can, in addition to coffee shops and places like that, that it be generally available throughout the town. That's not something these days that goes in a general plan, making that kind of suggestion, or it's not required for our size, or...
Let me just check if there was, I know there was a little bit of discussion about that at one point, and I thought possibly we had something in the economic development. Does anybody remember from the committee?
I didn't catch it if it was there, but I could have missed it.
It might not have used exactly those words, but I thought there was possibly something. Yeah.
We did talk about it, but it's something that it was merely a suggestion because the public decided and we had no control over it. We just asked and suggested.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew we had at one point talked about it, but it didn't come up to the,
Yeah, I think it's something that's generally, because the independent entrepreneurs that can make quick changes, and particularly where we're located rurally, it's something we really should encourage. You know, a lot of independent entrepreneurs are working out of coffee shops and places like that, and they don't need brick and mortar, but,
yeah.
you know, it seems like it should be something we'd encourage, but I guess if there's no requirement of it, we don't have to meet it. It just makes it look like we're more looking forward than
Yeah.
perhaps people are realizing that we do consider those things.
Thank you. Any other
Am I
questions?
really out to
No,
lunch?
no,
But
that's good.
because
No,
from
we
everything
encourage it.
I've learned in the economic development seminars, that's a really important issue.
You bet. Any other thoughts? Thank you, David. Appreciate it.
Is there, I mean, if there's a request by council that maybe our committee could meet and see if there was a place to tuck something in about that, what's the wishes of the
Did you
council?
want them to just add a?
I don't know how much it would take, you know, maybe just a sentence saying
Yeah.
that they are looking to the future in supporting things such as open usage of broadband to the extent that it's able to encourage independent entrepreneurs and other businesses.
It might be that we could add it, we have a step under under one of the strategies in economic development to establish an employment job base, and we have a step called expand infrastructure as needed. We can maybe just add something like including broadband.
Sure.
You probably could even put it in the postscript about halfways down, where it says the general plan emphasizes the creation of community cores, focal areas of community gatherings such as entertainment, recreation, civic center, and you could add something in there. We could encourage broadband for the entrepreneurs in various industries. Something like that you could add in the addendum, and then it wouldn't have to affect the entire
Formatting,
book.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
There's definitely a very strong correlation between successful economic development and strong communications infrastructures. And so having this postscript speak to that is a positive thing, but the council will have many more opportunities to engage what is being started here tonight. Each element should have a set of policies associated with it that the council entertains and revises and adopts. So while the general plan is a great starting point, it is very general. And some commentary in the general plan about Chino Valley encouraging strong development of communications infrastructures for the benefit of the people here is very appropriate. But the specifics in terms of the kinds of communications infrastructures and where and how you would want to see them spread across your community can be addressed in policy sections that the council authors itself.
Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I like the language he used about communication infrastructure because broadband would fall under that. And maybe the section ought to, you know, really ought to, since he's an expert in communications. That probably is something that, a good way to state it. And certainly I don't want to limit us in any way.
Okay.
We don't know what's coming down the pipeline in terms of communication, so.
Right. No, I like that phrase also.
You bet. Yeah, broadband may soon be a thing of
Maybe
the
gone.
past.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Did you have anything else for us, Dave? Or?
No.
No?
That was it.
Excellent.
So I think, has the advertising probably already happened for the May 13th hearing then? Okay.
All right. Okay.
So can I
Yes,
just
ma'am.
verify
Go
you're
ahead.
going to put something in about the communication?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And the understanding is it'll be in the postscript section.
Okay.
right?
That's
okay.
fine.
That'd be an excellent place. Thank you. All right. The chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. And
Seconded.
Seconded twice. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Mayor, I want to commend you